Hi everybody. Today we are here talking about the mental aspects of caregiving relationships. Because the mental aspects, if you are the caregiver or if you are the care receiver, they're similar but they're different. If you're the caregiver, you know that you are stressed out trying to help your loved ones who sometimes react positively, sometimes react negatively to your actions. Care receivers also are experiencing a lot of loss, either health aspects or physical aspects. And so because they have all these concerns mentally, right, this can make them less empathetic to the people who care for them. So when you think of this, what's the solution? Both people are experiencing stress, but different stress. How can caregivers and the people that they care for improve daily relationships? The path forward is identifying what mental aspects of the care relationship might be causing problems, and then working toward a mutual understanding of the fact that we are both stressed. This is difficult for both of us, and how do we move forward? I'm Pamela D Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. On there, a lot of hope, help, support for caregivers and aging adults, videos, my online course, my podcast, my articles, my caregiver library, my blog. So stay with me while I share why caregiving relationships are stressful for both parties and 1, 2, 3 suggestions for shifting the dynamics of your relationship so that it is more balanced and positive instead of only stressful. And just so I'm not using complicated technology, in talking about relationship dynamics, think about these dynamics as behavior patterns, right? We have ways we do things. We have ways we think about things, ways that we look about things. So relationship dynamics are behavior patterns in how we relate to other people, interact, and respond. And we all have them, and they result in positive or negative aspects with the relationships that we have with other people. So let's start talking about these mental aspects. When you think about it, the word caregiver can imply one person like going in one direction over here, right? So caregiver's actions toward the person who is receiving care. For example, I'm the caregiver. I take care of you. I do all these things for you. So it's almost as if the term caregiver sets up like this unrealistic expectation of one person over here doing everything for this person over here. And so it becomes like unbalanced, lopsided, right? There's no reciprocity from the care receiver going back to the caregiver. What is reciprocity? It's giving back, it's responding, it's working together, showing appreciation, having a 50-50 balance of responsibility. And when we think of the care receivers, who could be our elderly parents, a spouse, grandparent, other people, they need caregivers. So do we as the caregiver then see them as negative aspects, right? Needy, helpless, demanding, apathetic, they really don't care, stubborn, or unappreciative? Well, I can say that caregivers do see the people that they care for that way. So these thoughts, these mental aspects of caregiving relationships can form a basis for relationships where it's us versus them. It's adversarial. We feel like we don't get along. And so I want to share just some statements from caregivers and then care receivers to give us the perspective of both sides here. So caregiver, it's me against them. I have to deal with doctors, the healthcare system, insurance companies, and everybody in my family and everybody on the outside who makes my life difficult and miserable. So the caregiver, looking at the care receiver, thinks, well, you expect me to help you. Well, I don't like that because the time that I'm giving you has robbed me of my life. It's taken away everything that I used to love about my life. And I don't even recognize who I am today, and I really pretty much just hate my life. But think about this. On the other end, so just flip it. The care receiver on the other side thinks, well, I feel dependent on you, the caregiver, and I don't like feeling this way. Makes me angry, makes me upset that I have to rely on you for everything I need because I feel pretty darn helpless, right? My health is failing, nobody understands what I'm going through, and I'm not getting any empathy. Well, the caregiver feels that way too, right? I'm doing all this and nobody cares and nobody's helping. So the question in this mental aspect is, how do we get beyond this you versus me thinking? So it can be easy, but it can involve time and effort depending on how interested we are in getting past this, our commitment level, our willingness to balance our emotions with facts and logic. Caregiving is really emotional, and sometimes we're like, ah, and we got to bring that down because it's easy to get stuck in these behavior patterns. This one way of thinking, us versus them, me versus you, it's a nightmare. I hate it, right? So patience, let's talk about patience and a positive attitude. So from a mental perspective up here, being patient and having a positive attitude can go a long way to understanding how other people feel. Everybody has a choice about their attitude, whether you believe that or not. So whether you're the caregiver or the care receiver, you can feel sorry for yourself. You can say, oh, poor me, my life is miserable. But in the long run, what good does that do, right? Does it help you? No, it doesn't help you move ahead. You stay stuck. Then we have the whole complaining. So caregivers will complain to friends, they'll complain to other family members. Oh, this is hard, nobody's helping me. The person who needs care complains. Complaining is like poison, right? It spreads. And then it poisons your relationship with other people who then don't want to listen to you. They don't want to be around you. They start avoiding you. You wonder why they're avoiding you. Well, it's because you're negative and you're complaining all the time. And not that you don't have things to complain about, but you have to think about this. Our mind really controls our everyday relationships and the way that our life goes. So in all aspects, we can choose to improve our situation, or we can stay stuck or angry. It's kind of like the choice to stay bitter and destroy yourself and your health and your relationships, or get better. Try to think of ways to improve and be positive. Second suggestion is to live in the present. So a lot of times as a caregiver, we're thinking, oh my gosh, back 6 months ago, I had such a different life, and we can't see what life is going to be like 6 months from now, but yet we're ruminating about how bad things are today. Well, stop it. Make today, make each day the best that you can so that you don't look back in a week or a month or 6 months now with regret. Now, if you're caring for a sick person and you're with that person, all the health problems do create a lot of worries, and sometimes you have hope about the situation, which is a good thing, right? Hope is very positive. But it's also essential to be realistic that if you are caring for someone who is sick, you know, it's kind of a fact of life. Their health is probably not going to get better, especially if they're older and they have a lot of health issues. So this kind of involves grieving and loss in the present day. And a lot of people will say to me, well, Pamela, how do I get over a loss? My parent just died, or I had this happen, or I lost a job, or whatever. It's not easy, and it can take time. But here's the key. If you shift your focus from the loss and all the pain from the loss and the horrible things that you feel about that loss to focusing on your everyday experience and wanting to make things positive and doing things that make you feel good, spending time with friends, taking a walk, listening to music, you have to create the good in your life because nobody else is going to do that for you. So you can choose to focus on loss, or you can choose to focus on positivity and the future and good things. Number 3, and probably the most important in this whole mental aspect of caregiving, is to look at caregiving as a partnership. So instead of caregiver, care receiver, think of like partnership, collaboration, or working together 50-50. But these are conversations that you have to have because in caregiving relationships, again, It's like the caregiver going on this one-way street to take care of that care receiver, and the care receiver not really giving anything back because they feel many times that the caregiver is just like taking over their life, which we all do that, right? So it's having conversations between caregiver, care receiver about what is life like today? What's it like next week? What are the problems that are going to come up that we need to talk about? It's not ignoring those issues or running away from them or delaying talking about them because something else is going to come up and you're going to have another emergency. You already know this. You're the caregiver. Some people do not deal well with sickness or loss or grief or death or disability. Everybody has negative and traumatic experiences in their life, and we have to find ways to cope and work through those. But as the caregiver and the care receiver, you can do that together. So regardless of what we all think, I'm giving everything, this person over here is giving nothing, we're all in the same boat, right? We're hoping for better. We're hoping for a better life. We're hoping for a better day. We're hoping for better relationships. So rather than fighting each other in this care relationship or being judgmental or being petty, why not get to a place where you're not willing to lower your standards or your character or your ethics to be constantly critical of another person? It does no good. Stop it. Don't be critical of yourself. Also, get to a point where you don't need to be right and make other people wrong. There's no winning in that either. You want to get to a place where feeling positive and happy and looking forward to the future is more important to you than anything else in your life. And when you get there, you win on this mental aspect of caregiving, or you win on this mental aspect of being the care receiver, because the relationships in your life become the important things with your children, with your friends, with other people. Life can be very positive if you're in a care relationship, but that doesn't happen unless you make it happen. I'm Pamela D Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. There's a lot of hope, help, support for caregivers and aging adults. Please press the share button on this video. Follow me on my YouTube channel so that others seeking hope, help, and support in caregiving and health relationships can find that information. Have a fabulous day today. I'll see you all again soon in another video.